Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 24 of Jux and All Things Sports Podcast, presented to you by Always Boolin. Always Boolin on YouTube. Like and subscribe. If you're listening to us on Spotify, it's Jux. Drop a rating, drop a follow, so you can stay up to date with us weekly. Missed you last week. Our apologies. Busy week. We're catching up with you this week. Normally every week on Tuesday, Wednesday. Normally Tuesday nights. We'll jump into NFL first. It's been free agency frenzy lately. Things started off with a big bang with the Panthers moving up to number one. I have it right here, and I had to guess. But Panthers moving up to number one. Trent, what do you think they're doing with the number one pick? There's rumors out, but to move up from 9 to 1, that means you want to get your guy, not someone else's guy. I mean, maybe you don't know how the top three, whatever quarterbacks is going to shake out. But they moved to 1, and they did it early. Who do you think won the trade? Scratch that. Is there a quarterback who's worthy of giving up that amount of assets to move up to the number one pick? And do you think the Bears got a respectable haul to drop back to 9?
Okay. Kind of a lot to unload there, Bach.
I can remind you later.
No, you're good. You're good. So I think all in all, the Bears won that trade by quite a bit. No, they have their quarterback that they want to keep for a little while, and that's ultimately why the Panthers came up to the first pick. That's what they wanted, the first pick. Gave them the 9th pick this year, second round pick this year, 24 first rounder and a 25 second rounder with DJ Moore. I think they're going to draft CJ Stroud if I had to pick someone. But I think you can't be like too confident in that pick. And I say that because he went to Ohio State. There is Bryce Young, possibly just as good, maybe better. They might pick him as well. Anthony Richardson, obviously Bark has the future with him being the first overall number one pick. But this isn't a generational talent everyone's talking about. This isn't. People were talking about Trevor Lawrence a lot more than they're talking about Bryce and CJ Stroud. And it's like all of those quarterbacks, the Will Levis, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, if they were all into one and I got all the hype, that'd be like Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck, that kind of quarterback. That's what you move up in the draft for. That's what you sell your soul to get. And any of these quarterbacks, whoever they draft, I don't think is going to be the generational talent. He might be serviceable. He might be good, and I could be 100% wrong. I just don't think it's a great I don't think it's a great trade for the Panthers moving up for one of these quarterbacks.
What do you think DJ Moore does for the Bears? Do you think Justin Fields did just need weapons?
It's a little bit of a combination of both. Chase Claypool, when he went over there, we were like, oh, now he's got at least a guy, right? Chase Claypool got like maybe a few yards per game. Obviously, it's scary because DJ Moore has been playing with shitty quarterbacks and still producing at the Panthers. So it's a little bit iffy, and it's something I don't know if I can say, but if I had to guess, it's going to be similar to Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool's numbers, where they just weren't good because it's like a Lamar situation where he runs a lot and his wide receivers weren't that great, but now he has great receivers. So I never even knew what Lamar would do if he had great receivers. So now everyone's talking about the Bears receivers as if they're a top 5 wide receiver locker room. I disagree. I think DJ Moore is that guy there. He's their number 1 now. But Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool is the 2 and 3, whichever way you want to put it. Cole Kmet, it's very mid to me.
I agree that it's mid, and I think the bigger problem there is the offensive line. Fortunately enough for the Bears, Fields can scramble and get out of the pocket and do things with his legs. But you break it down, and I get it, under pressure. I just said that, but the passing accuracy was not there this year. And in terms of arm talent, shit, give me Sam Darnold when it comes to throwing a football. Now, round out quarterback, yeah, I'll roll the dice on Justin Fields and hope the arm can figure it out. And Justin Fields with just his legs might be more valuable than Sam Darnold. But arm talent, you look at the quarterbacks DJ Moore's play with Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. Mayfield turned around a struggling Browns franchise. It wasn't a big turnaround. It wasn't a Patrick Mahomes saved the franchise, but he turned them into a contender. He turned the Browns into a decent team. He got a playoff win.
Game.
He got a playoff win. And then he went to the Panthers. He's got the arm talent. Sam Darnold, although it's a mediocre and crowded quarterback room at San Fran, with the way injuries play out there, I think we might see flashes of brilliance in Darnold if he gets an opportunity this season with the 49ers. I do still think there's NFL talent in that body, and arm-wise, it's there. I don't know that DJ Moore is going to automatically make Justin Fields better. I hope he doesn't because I have flip-flopped on this a little bit, but I've really settled down on Justin Fields is going to be a good fantasy quarterback. He'll get the rushing yards. He'll get the rushing touchdowns. He's electric. But I don't think the arm talent's there to be a long-time contender. I think it's smart of them to move out of number one. I don't think this is the draft where you replace him. But if you do have Justin Fields and there is a Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence, even next year, potential Caleb Williams, Drake May type of quarterback up there, I think if you see that generational talent, that's still someone you would pick over Justin Fields. In this case, I agree. Take the capital. Let Justin Fields run it another year. DJ Moore, as good and athletic as he is, probably still isn't even the headliner in this trade. It's probably the 2 first-round picks that are the real moneymakers and 2 seconds on top of that. So I don't want to call him a throw-in because it's certainly not what he was, but it's a good bonus to have whether or not that makes or breaks the team. I do think if you're the Panthers, you weren't in an awful, awful situation. And like you said, Train, there's not that guy in this draft. If you want to make a move at quarterback, then I think you ride this year out. Maybe someone falls to you at 9. I don't know. You can stash them. But then next year make a move when there's a Caleb Williams or a Drake May in the class. You can see these guys coming. The potential's there. I'm sure NFL head coaches are already drooling over Caleb Williams. So I'm shocked that a splash like this was made. I would understand like Colts or Texans doing a little flip with the Bears to make sure they get to 1 and spend like a second and a fourth maybe. But to move up from 9 to 1 and jump these other teams who are obviously looking for quarterbacks now, I think it was a quick move for the Panthers. And on top of that, with the Lamar saga going on, with that amount of capital that you're willing to give up, you're giving up your first this year and first next year, which would be the 2 picks you'd have to give to the Ravens to sign Lamar. But you could sign Lamar, keep your 2 second-round picks, keep DJ Moore, and then you're getting a guy who's been in the NFL and proven that he can play games. Everyone shakes their head at the injury concern. I do not give a shit.
Just to chime in, it happened maybe minutes before the pod. The Panthers signed Andy Dalton to a 2-year, $10 million. So is he just a stash in case whoever they pick at 1 doesn't work out? I'm guessing because they didn't really have a quarterback.
This could be ridiculous of me to say. And trading up to 1 to draft and stash for a year, let's just say, or until you think he's ready, a la Jordan Love with the Packers, although they didn't take him number 1. I think Andy Dalton almost raises some Anthony Richardson flags. That just kind of made my heart, because CJ Stroud's got a little bit more ready to go out there day 1 and compete type of guy. Anthony Richardson's a guy who's got all the raw talent and had questionable college stats, and he's made good passes, but he's also made bad passes. Anthony Richardson almost seems like a guy an NFL head coach or GM would be like, man, if we can get our hands on that guy and let him learn
we can
for a
turn him into
season,
something.
he he yeah he again at one I think that's a lot. Maybe they were. He's a generational athlete. The combine showed that. That's why I placed the future. Ham and I were
Athlete,
talking
yeah.
about it, and Ham was like, "This guy's going to show up at the combine, and people are going to go crazy." He goes, "Should we place a future?" I said, "Yes, we should." And that's exactly what happened. Even before the combine, he was starting to creep, and then the combine happened, and it was ridiculous. But he just seems the way they talk about him. It's just you got to iron some things out in the passing game. I guess for the most part, he's got the arm strength, and it's all there. He's a guy that an NFL GM head coach would want to work on. I think that Andy Dalton signing kind of signals to that.
I don't even think about that, but the way you broke it down, I mean, Andy Dalton almost started a whole season with Jameis being the backup at the Saints, with him also being hurt. So, I mean, the Saints didn't do too great, but it just feels so weird that they did this, like right before they're about to get their guy that they want so bad. And after you say that, it makes sense. But if it's C.J. Stroud um or Bryce Young, I don't see why they do this. I'm pretty sure they just got rid of Darnold, right? And he
Yep.
went to 49ers, but
Yep.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because the devil's advocate argument would be like you put Andy Dalton in there to be a locker room guy. If
Veteran.
CJ or Bryce isn't game ready by week one, you've got someone who can start games, and then you're not forced to play the quarterback. I don't know what the relationship was like with Sam Darnold. If it was like Sam Darnold's like, yeah, I'm not coming back here, and they're like, we understand, or if they did let him go and they liked something Andy Dalton had that he didn't in terms of coaching and leadership. If you're looking for a guy to bridge a couple games, you probably sign the guy who knows, or you keep the guy who's known the playbook and been in the system. If you're looking for a guy to come in and, I don't know, change things up, I think it's Andy Dalton. I don't know. It's just where my heart went because of my futures. So, like right
That's
when you
fair.
said that, I was like, oh, it's the perfect guy to play for a season while you prep Anthony Richardson. I love so much about C.J. Stroud, but I'm so scared because we haven't really seen an Ohio State quarterback pan out yet. Justin Fields has been the closest, and he had a good year or two in terms of athleticism. Again, his percentages were bad in the air, but he spent a lot of time at Georgia too. And Ohio State can claim him. He played great with Ohio State. Played a whole year with them. It's not like a Joe Burrow thing, but he does kind of still have some of that Georgia in him that makes me a little bit more confident. But, and this is tough to say, but if C.J. Stroud went to like any other college, I'd be so much more high on him in this draft. I think he's got a lot of tools that are great. I think Bryce Young is too short. I know that's an old guy take, whatever. What about Russell Wilson? Okay, and Drew Brees, he was 6 foot. 6 foot, we can talk. Russell Wilson, late round pick from Wisconsin, good system, great defense in Seattle. Tough year in Denver. Good guy, hard worker too. Bryce Young, Alabama wonder kid, 5'10". The weight was there, but I mean, you can bulk up
Who
before
would
the
you pick?
combine.
Just what out of those two?
Give me Stroud every day over Bryce Young.
Okay.
I like Anthony Richardson better than I like Bryce Young. I'd rather have the
That's what I said
upside.
out of those two.
Well, between Stroud and Richardson, I think it's really tough. Everything's there with Stroud already. The only risk is that he comes from a university with historically poor quarterback performance. But C.J. Stroud's not a quarterback that's typically gone through Ohio State. He's probably the least athletic Ohio State quarterback since maybe Cardale Jones. But I think Cardale Jones might have still been quicker. I don't really remember. I didn't follow Ohio State football close enough. I just know he was pudgy, which is why I'm saying that. But there's something with Anthony Richardson. I think he's got a good mindset. I think he's got a good heart. And the traits are there. If you can get him to throw a football accurately, he could be real dangerous. Lamar Jackson-esque.
I don't know if you wanted to go into it. There's been a lot of signings. Gino, a lot of money, play for the Seahawks. Derek Carr, a lot of money, play for the Saints. Dan Jones to stay at the Giants, a lot of money. Um, Jalen Ramsey goes to the Dolphins for practically nothing. Well, third round pick, but um,
Gino, Derek Carr,
where
and
is
go ahead.
what happens to Lamar Jackson? And I should have brought Nar on to talk about this because he thinks so. He has quite the opinion on it. Just because, not quite the opinion. He's very hard headed about this. That Lamar is very overrated. Um, so where do you think he goes? Um, does he go anywhere? Does he stay there? What do you think the contract looks like? Let's talk Lamar.
So I think there's a lot to unpack with the Lamar situation. Early rumors came. Number one, I think the Ravens should have just gotten a deal done. But I'm happy for Lamar that they didn't because I think Lamar is a much better person, better human being, easier to get along with than Aaron Rodgers. And the Ravens have almost the Ravens have done for Lamar what the Packers did for Aaron Rodgers, almost nothing. Ravens fans have been begging for weapons to go around Lamar, just like Aaron Rodgers was begging for weapons around him. And he's got Mark Andrews, Dobbins, who's been tough with injuries, and you never know if he'll ever be the same or what he really ever was. The O-line's okay. What your marquee
Nar's
receiver?
argument was Rashad Bateman.
That's your marquee receiver, though? Like, he's not Devontae Adams. I don't know if he's better than Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm not sure that's close. I think there's a lot of receivers I'd name off before Rashad Bateman. I think he's a good receiver. He's quick. He's got good hands. But that's the best weapon for an MVP quarterback. And then the non-exclusive tag at 33 million. A lot of people freaked out about at the beginning as insulting, which it kind of was. But then I read about why they would have done that. And the Ravens essentially were doing that to get a feel for what Lamar's worth on the open market. Contract talks were going nowhere. They're like, you know what? We'll show you that we're not crazy. Here you go. So no one wants to offer Lamar a contract because all they're doing is saying, this is what we'd pay you. And then everybody hears that, the Lions offered Lamar a contract. And then Jared Goff is sitting there like, oh, well, that shows what they care about me. Then the Ravens go, yep, we'll match that. And then it's the team who put that offer, and you got to go tell your quarterback, like, well, we go get him, kid. Like, we were about to replace you with Lamar, but Ravens matched it. So, but ideally, the Ravens were using the other GMs to be like, go ahead, Lamar, see what they'll give you. And then if someone gave them something big, they would have just matched it, or
Do you
they let him
consider
go
this
for.
a good move? Do you consider this a good move for the Ravens and for Lamar? And they're both doing kind of the right thing.
It's a smart office move by the Ravens. Lamar's hands are tied because of the way it's all working out. I don't think he signs that. I don't think you sign that tag, and I think you take off a year, which is unfortunate for Lamar because he's good. If that's what happens, and that's what I think will happen. I don't think he signs it. I don't think another team takes a run at him. And Lamar's going to get bullied for not caring. Oh, he's worried about getting injured. Told you injuries were a problem. He doesn't want to win. He doesn't care about his team. $33 million is a lot of money. It's insulting. $33 million. Daniel Jones just got $40 million. And that's not guaranteed money, I don't think, on that 1 year tag. I don't think that's guaranteed
I don't
money.
know. I'm
I
not
don't know
sure.
for a fact even if it is. It's insulting. He won't sign it. If it comes down to that, he's not going to play on that contract, and he shouldn't. But he will get blamed for it. People will say he should play on that. If he cared, he'd play. Then free agency would roll around again. And if that happens, I hope the market heats up for him. I hope someone gives him a big deal. If I were the Ravens, I mean, they're being smart. They have to be. No, people aren't always good people on GMs. They don't let a guy just walk away for nothing because they think it's right for him. They're going to get theirs. They're going to do what they think is smart for their team in the long run, which I respect. But Lamar's in a tough bind. I think it's ridiculous that no one would even take a shot, especially if you're a team with a question mark at quarterback and you're not worried about pissing off. I just keep saying Jared Goff because of Lions, but I don't know, Kirk Cousins if the Vikings took a run at him. Dolphins, who cares if Tua gets mad? Even Saints can make a run at him, whatever. Where's their quarterback? Falcons. There's all these teams that could have given him a deal, not pissed off somebody. So then you either stick the Ravens with the deal, whatever, retried, or you have Lamar Jackson. And I don't know where people are getting lost on this. They bring up injuries and he can't throw and this and he can throw. People just assume that he can't because they don't watch Lamar games. They don't watch Ravens football games. The guy has a good arm. Just like when Mike Vick's legs gave up on him, he was still a serviceable NFL quarterback. If Lamar loses his legs with good weapons, he can still be a good quarterback. Loses a big part of his game, but man, you stick Lamar with the Lions receiving core and their O-line. I don't care if you put a rule that says Lamar Jackson cannot scramble for more than 5 yards. He'll still be electric in that offense. I know that for a fact. And I don't know why someone wouldn't take a risk on him. I truly don't. If I was the Panthers, I would have taken a risk on giving Lamar a fully guaranteed contract before I gave up that kind of draft capital to move up, take a question mark.
Why not? Oh, lots going on around the NFL. I think, I mean, we have just had discussion after discussion on Lamar. And it was never really like, oh, we need Lamar at the Lions, but we discussed it. You have your opinion. I'm kind of like, all right, if we get Lamar, I think he only improves us, but I'm not like, let's go get Lamar right now kind of guy. So that's where I'm at with it. I think Goff's good. I think he's good and good through this offense. But I can't deny that Lamar is a great quarterback, MVP quarterback. So
I did mention Saints, by the way. Saints signed Derek Carr, so they do have their guy.
Right.
Sorry.
Aaron Rodgers, I hate talking about him because I think he just feeds off of people talking about him. It's either Jets or retirement. I made my pick, I think, a couple weeks ago, our last pod, maybe the one before that. He's begging the Jets, or not begging. He made practically a grocery list for the Jets. I want this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. They're all basically the wide receivers and tight ends: Mercedes Lewis, Cobb, Lazard, and now he wants OBJ. They just signed Lazard today. The Jets did for $44 million.
Over 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years. I think 33 guaranteed. And I don't understand. I mean, Hammy made a great point. If you're complaining about your receivers and the Packers never giving you receivers, why are you making the Jets go get all these guys that you were hating on before and complaining about? So, Bark, my question to you is he going to the Jets? Is he screwing over the Jets, retiring, or is he going to the Jets, and are they going to make him happy with these guys?
I think he's going to the Jets. And I respect that he made a grocery list minus OBJ. Here's why. Aaron Rodgers never asked for weapons or receivers specifically or anything like that. What he asked was that the GM, owner, and coach listened to him on draft night. Or at least communicate with him. He got caught off guard by Jordan Love, and that's where a lot of this started. And he wasn't saying, I need weapons. He wanted to be heard on draft night, which I understand. Because then into this last season, what frustrates Aaron Rodgers is young rookie receivers who aren't polished yet, I guess is a good way to put it. The Packers have done a good job drafting. They tend to get guys in late rounds that also do good. Christian Watson probably going to be is a solid receiver. Romeo Doubs, also a good receiver for them. But for Aaron Rodgers, they're guys who are still learning to adjust to an NFL lifestyle. Lazard, Cobb, Mercedes Lewis, longtime NFL veterans, and he knew and liked them with the Packers. He wanted Cobb on the Packers when he worked there. He likes veteran guys who are humble. I don't like OBJ because the Jets have Garrett Wilson. I think they're getting a little greedy there because now you're demanding 3 receivers on top of Garrett Wilson, who they already have, and Elijah Moore. I think they have enough weapons. I don't mind him asking for Lazard and Randall Cobb because I know he likes the veterans, and I know those other 2 rookies, Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson, are young. Elijah Moore a little bit more inexperienced, but Garrett Wilson's a dog. He's not a 2nd or 3rd round pick that they're trying to develop. He knows what he's getting. I think he's better than OBJ. If you ask any team in the NFL, do you want to give OBJ $20 million a year, or do you want Garrett Wilson? Not a single one's going to say, give me OBJ. I guarantee it. So you already got Garrett Wilson. Lazard, whatever, I think that's a good deal for him. He played a good season. He knows what he's doing. He's worked with Aaron. 4 years, $33 million guaranteed, $11 million a year, whatever. Christian Kirk's getting 21 M's. You look at a lot of these contracts coming out, longer contracts age better. You sign a guy on a 1-year deal, you're going to have to pay him twice as much next year on a long-term deal. $11 million a year is going to look like chump change in 2 to 3 seasons, I think. So I like that move. I don't mind bringing in Randall Cobb, Mercedes Lewis, good blocking tight end, been around a long time. OBJ, I don't get. Again, veteran presence. Doesn't line up with the humble, really, as far as I know. I don't know him personally. But Aaron Rodgers is the kind of guy who can demand that kind of stuff and get away with it. And I don't hate that. Now, if you do that and you go to the Jets and they pick up those guys, you better go out there and fucking perform. I'll tell you that much. Because it's going to be no one's fault but your own. I don't care. The OC is Hackett. They got him to try and get you. Then they bring in Lazard to get you. Cobb, Mercedes Lewis, if those go along. OBJ, if that happens. You can't say you didn't do well because of them, at that point. But if you can get
all your guys you picked.
If you're an Aaron Rodgers away from a Super Bowl and you think you are, and signing those 4 guys is what it takes, fuck it. Then you say, all right.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was going to say, are they?
There is no
if they get these guys and Aaron Rodgers.
If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets,
they win the Super Bowl. Can they win the Super Bowl?
Can they? Yeah. Will they? Probably not. I like their defense. I like their weapons. I like Aaron Rodgers. But the AFC is just almost a coin toss flipped 7 times. There's a lot of teams in there you got to get through. Anything can happen. I mean, I like the Jags to make a sneaky run. I think on paper the Jets team will be better than the Jags team. I mean, you line it up 1-to-1, they probably beat out the Jags in a lot of positions on that. But on top of that, you got the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Bills, who are all juggernauts you got to get through. You got a tough schedule with teams like Steelers popping up on there. Patriots can be decent for the most part. They're at least got to work around Belichick. Dolphins can be electric. Jets have a solid defense.
Ramsey.
There's just so much going on in the AFC.
The Bills.
I said Bills. I said Bills, Bengals, Chiefs. There's just a lot that would need to go right for them.
It's just in their division.
And it could. But yeah, there's depending on what Lamar and the Ravens do, they're a team you got to get through. I think if I was Aaron Rodgers, man, I would have just ran out that contract in Green Bay or retired. and I think we talked about this. Maybe it was even Aaron Rodgers we were talking about. I don't know. Some of these guys just try to hang on too long when they've got money, and you don't got to prove anything to me. I know you're a good quarterback. Just sit in Green Bay, take your bag. Maybe he really is just scared of. Maybe he can't bear losing to the Lions anymore, and that's why he took out. That's what I'm hanging my hat on, because I don't know why you'd leave that situation to go to the AFC. But I think
I like it.
it'd be really bold if the Jets go out and sign like everybody except, like, say they get Lazard, Mercedes Lewis, um, and Randall
Cobb.
Cobb, and then they don't get OBJ, and Aaron Rodgers goes, "Yeah, not enough. I'm retiring." Then the Jets are
I
like,
know
"Well, what
that'd
the
be
fuck do we
hilarious.
do with these?" I think that'd be a little funny. That might be the outcome I want.
Be a
I don't
little
think
funny.
Aaron Rodgers should play in the AFC. He's because it's Super Bowl or bust, and that's a lot to promise to an AFC team. If you go in with those demands and the money you're getting paid, and you're Aaron Rodgers with a good defense, you have to win a Super Bowl when you're there, and I don't know that they can. That's my take on it.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna stick on. I'm gonna stay on the hill of retirement, just because. Well, he is going on the Pat McAfee podcast, whatever YouTube thing tomorrow at 1 o'clock live. So I don't know if they'll ask him what's going on, or if he'll make his announcement on there. I feel like it's a very Aaron Rodgers thing to do. Just
Yeah.
all right. Not, listen to me. No, you're not going to hear it from Schefter on Twitter. You're not going to hear it from somebody else. You're going to hear it from me live. And that's probably what I'll tune into tomorrow because I want to know. I'm kind of sick of it. I'm kind of sick of hearing about his name, and I know he just likes hearing it. I know he just likes everyone talking about him. Um, so I'm gonna kind of stop there. For Aaron Rodgers, I think we got our takes out. But free agency starts tomorrow. Technically, people got to talk to, or teams got to talk to people this week, starting legally, and then the contracts can officially be signed tomorrow. The Lions sign Cam Sutton to a deal. Emmanuel Mosley,
Love,
two
love Emmanuel Mosley.
two cornerbacks. Tore his ACL last year. Ryan wasn't happy with the Sutton, and I can't blame him because I'm pretty happy with it myself. Um, I think we still draft a cornerback at least, maybe not at 6 now, maybe at 18. But I think it really shifts our draft into we get to play it however we want to play it based off of the teams in front of us and who they draft. So I think right now, we don't have one guy in mind. We might have like 3 or 4 guys in mind.
Which is a great way
Based
to
off
draft.
yes, yes. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. We have Goff's contract next year. Anthony Richardson had a great combine. How stupid would it be if
Good
he's there
luck.
at 6, Bach?
Won't be.
He won't be there at 6.
No, not a shot.
Okay.
If he is, I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm in love with him. The talent's there.
The teams with like QB needs and ahead of us are the Panthers, Texans. So I'm thinking like Stroud, Bryce Young, in that order, and then the Colts are also picking, which I think either Anthony Richardson or Levis, and then Seattle and the Cardinals picking defensive guys. In I think, which would make sense. Bill Anderson and Jalen Carter. All the Bears think they're going to get Jalen Carter at 9 with their pick and just rule the world. I don't think Jalen Carter slips. What do you think? How do you think the draft goes up until the Lions? Do you know the order?
I think it's Anderson or shit. I think it's Stroud Richardson at 1. They're going to take one of those two, I think. I think the Texans are going Bryce Young no matter what.
Yes.
Who's 3?
That's the Cardinals, I
Okay,
believe.
Cardinals will probably go. I imagine they'll take Jalen Carter. I could see him going Will Anderson. 4 Colts. In terms of like looks right in the jersey, I think they go Will Levis. I think they should go Anthony Richardson. But Will Levis just kind of looks like a Colt already. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was thinking.
But I mean, if that's the case and Anthony Richardson's there, I don't know. I don't know how many Lions fans would like that though, taking him at 6. I mean, you just filled up cornerback though if you're good enough. And then I mean, I
I still wouldn't.
signing Geno to a 3-year. I don't think the Seahawks are in a position where they'd take like a Levis or a Richardson to stash behind him. I think they're going to go defense, like you said, and they'll take either Carter or Anderson, whoever the Cardinals didn't take, unless one of them loves a cornerback. If one of them loves Witherspoon,
Zala's.
Gonzalez, or Joey Porter, I could see him going to one of those teams. The draft just always turns into a shit show between what the general public thinks a team's needs are and what a front office thinks that their team needs are. I wouldn't be shocked at 3 or 5 if a cornerback goes off if someone really loves him because I'll call it the Sauce Gardner effect. People jumped up like he went 3, I think, to the Jets.
I can double check.
I'm pretty sure it was 3. And people were kind of shocked by that. There's PFF ranks, this and that, but if a team wants a cornerback and they see a guy who they really like and they think is going to be a lockdown cornerback, they will take him at 3. It's easier to go out and buy an edge rusher. It's easy. He went 4.
Yeah.
Close enough. Still can
Yeah,
drag
that's
the
pretty
point
good.
across. So if a cornerback goes at 3 or 5, then that would free up either Jalen Carter or Will Anderson to the Lions at 6. If one of them are there at 6, I don't think you can take a quarterback because
I
even with
agree.
Hutchinson there, interior D line and opposite side edge. I mean, if you get Will Anderson as an offensive line, I don't know how you scheme that. You can't double team both of them without letting 2 D tackles run at your center. So one of them's going to get to feel the love, whether it's Will Anderson or Hutchinson or back and forth. And then if Will Anderson's gone, you get big old Jalen Carter right up the middle to disrupt the run, gain some focus from the tackle guards, and let Hutchinson do his moves on the outside, which he's good at. Big D lineman pulls guards' attention away, gives you more one-on-ones with the tackles from the edge, which could also help Hutchinson. And beyond helping
I think
Hutchinson,
you
you get
just
Jalen Carter.
I think you just talked it out, and you love our spot right now, don't you?
I think you're in a really good position, yeah.
Just amazing.
And then if
Honestly,
you
so
do love Joey Porter or Gonzalez or Witherspoon at 6 and he's there and they're like, oh, we thought he was going 3. Like you said, it puts you in a spot where if a cornerback goes that you wanted, whatever, we'll get Jalen Carter. If Jalen Carter goes, all right, we'll get Will Anderson. If both of them end up going, all right, we'll go get our cornerback then. Or we'll go get Anthony Richardson. Or I hope they don't get Will Levis, but if he's on their draft board, I don't know, an available quarterback that they like. Like you said, I think they're in a really good spot to use 6 however they want based on how the draft falls out, which is a great place to be in because there's no pressure to move up.
oh, not even a little bit. Talking a lot of NFL, Bark. Evan Ingram got signed. Got some money. Got Calvin Ridley reinstated. Since we last were on here, how do you feel about those two? I guess they were already kind of on the team, but how are you feeling?
So every day I get more and more understanding of Bulky. He got a lot of harsh criticism because number one, he generally hasn't been liked by front offices. Sam Fran didn't love working with him. And then Urban Meyer put a big cloud over that season, and Bulky caught a lot of flack on that too. And I mean, I remember we were clamoring for them to fire Bulky and hire Adrian Phillips so that Byron Leftwich would come over and be our head coach. He's since been fired as an offensive coordinator, and Adrian Phillips, I don't know. He's probably not good. I have no idea. I don't love the Cardinals. And Bulky continues to prove to me that he's a smart guy. He reset the market with Christian Kirk. Um, the mindset behind the Jaguars right now is we're going to try and bring back who we think we need, build through the draft, and run it back. That's how the cap space turned out. A lot of that frees up next year and puts us in a position to see and adjust. I wanted to get something long term done with Evan Ingram. I don't mind using the tag. He'll sign the tag, which we're okay with. It didn't seem like there was any hurt feelings that came out of that. I'm glad we brought him back. Tight end is a huge need for us. I think that's where they're going to end up going at 24 at this rate, unless there's still someone out there that we're going to try and get our fingers on, which I'm a little hesitant on because we need a cornerback too.
Who would you say that you think they're going to take at 24?
I think they might go tight end at 24 with whoever they're in love with, unless Bulky has hinted at moving up in some other rounds. I could see us going cornerback at 24 and sneaking up in the second to get Darnell Washington if he drops to that point. That's who I would love for us to pick up. I don't think he's the best tight end in this class, but I think he'd be a great tight end as a tight end too behind Evan Ingram because you're basically getting a sixth offensive lineman. And I think the Calvin Ridley trade went really under the radar when it happened, and then people forgot about it because he was still suspended. And now in this free agency market where Jacoby Myers just got 11 mil, Alan Lazard got around that, it's really slim pickings on the market right now. And if everything goes well with Calvin Ridley, we gave up a second round pick for him. If he does okay and we decide not to re-sign him, it's a third round pick. If he plays, it's a fourth round pick. If he does nothing, we gave up a fifth. But I mean, if Calvin Ridley balls out and you get a long-term deal done with him, you give up a second-round pick for Calvin Ridley before the need was necessarily there. I just think he was ahead of other GMs, and I'm not saying there was GMs who didn't know that this was a weak wide receiver free agency class, but I just don't think anyone was worried about it yet. We got him mid-season on a suspension. It wasn't anything crazy where, like, not massive criminal charges where it's like, oh, they might not reinstate. Like, if they didn't reinstate him, it would have been an uproar. But he capitalized with a highly incentivized pick. You know, it's a second if Calvin Ridley is Calvin Ridley and we lock him down. But if Calvin Ridley's Calvin Ridley and someone else pops, or we get another, we don't have to keep him, and then we give up a third instead of a second. There's a lot of options to do with him. It's good flexibility. The receiving core is now Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones. You got Etienne. Ingram's back. You lose Jawan Taylor to the Chiefs, which, tough. I wouldn't have given him $20 million. Great pass blocker, horrendous run blocker. Phenomenal fit for the Chiefs. I think he's going to be good with the Chiefs. I wouldn't have given him $20 million, mainly because you're giving Cam Robinson 30 on the left side right now, which we had to do last year as a panic move. I'm okay with moving on from that. We're waiting to hear back on a couple other guys. They just signed Dewey, who's kind of a glue guy. I'd like to bring Arden Key back. There's rumors that we might go out and get like a D-Hop or something. But they really like Zay Jones, and I think they want to keep him in the wide receiver 3 role. Really quiet for the Jags for the most part. I mean, we tagged Ingram, and we got Ridley reinstated. That's been about it, outside of a couple minor extensions, but that's what Bulky told us to expect. He said, and we knew we didn't have a ton of cap room to work with either. We did a lot of spending last year. So the idea was bring back who we can, build through the draft, run it back. And I'm excited to see how that turns out.
Perfect. Well, there is a couple free agents, little trades. Denver wants to get rid of their wide receivers. It sounds like Derrick Henry on the trade block, Austin Eckler on the trade block, or they couldn't really hammer out a deal from what it sounded like. There's a lot of other things. We could probably talk NFL for a couple hours. But if you want to move on, if we have time, we can go more. I can go longer. I don't know where we're at. I feel like we just been going at it.
You can either continue on NFL or we can talk John Morant.
We can sprinkle a little John Morant, just because that's the only thing we're going to talk about in NBA. I think. The
Thoughts?
the Pistons
Did
suck.
you see the pictures of the strip club with all the cash covering everything?
Yeah, honestly, absolutely incredible. The man went out after a loss, spent that much, or it's probably not all his, but
Yeah.
um, probably quite a bit of it's his, and they cleaned up.
Did you hear what
They got
the
a lot of
owner said
money
about him?
about John Morant.
Yeah.
Uh, no, but most of the talk is on the owner and if it was like okay to release that photo. And that's the only thing people are really talking about on like mainstream shows. But no, what did he say?
Owner said he was super nice and respectful kid, spent a lot of money, didn't have a drop of alcohol. How can you drop that kind of money on? I've never been to a strip club, but I don't know how many people I know who've been to a strip club and were sober the entire time. And I get it. I mean, it's the middle of the NBA season. You probably can't get wasted. He's probably got practice in the morning. But he's young and he's filling up the floor with cash. And the owner was just like, yeah, I just, this nice guy from, he came up in a prep school and everything. And he's just chilling at the strip club using please and thank yous. Just water for me, thanks. But he's still just getting bounced on by a stripper and throwing ones everywhere. It seems like he told the owner, he's like, yeah, release that pic. If anything, the owner probably didn't care that the picture got released. Probably publicity in whatever way. If anyone would have been upset that that picture got released, it would have been John Morant. But I think he's trying to get some cred. I think there was reports before, like, the gun on Instagram and all this different stuff. I think he's trying to act tough, and I think he went to a strip club, wanted to look like a baller, and said, you can put that picture on the internet if you want, by the way, on his way out. Maybe
I
that's bold
He
and rude of
did.
me to assume, but
He went to counseling. Do you think that had to do with the gun? I guess the whole strip club scene. um, with the picture released. I don't even know why it was released because
why would
there's
it
no
be
gun in the
unless the
photo.
owner was like, hey, can I send that out? Or if John's like, hey, send that out.
If you could see him like in the Instagram live and you could like match that up with a gun found in the picture that they just shown, then like okay, that I could see the release of the picture. But other than that, it's probably just to get publicity for the club. And you're 100% right. But I not 100% right on the fact that I think he told them to release the photo because I mean, yeah, he's going to counseling now, not playing in the NBA for an indefinite amount of time. We don't know. Um, but do you think it's just kind of just being free, having the money, and doing whatever you can do at like our age? I mean, he's probably a little bit older, maybe around our age.
Yeah, he's probably younger.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just think it's a lot out on your own. Yeah, I mean, he went to Murray State. It's not like he was at an Alabama or, I guess, for basketball, Duke, Kentucky, flying around campus. And now he's in stardom. He's thrust into it. He probably hadn't seen a lot like this before, and he gets to make his own decisions and whatnot. So I think we'll see growth eventually. He didn't do anything dumb. He went to a strip club and spent money, flashed a gun on IG. Like, he hasn't done anything too stupid yet. He hasn't done anything bad. It's whatever. It's a young kid making mistakes on social media a couple times, and whatever happened with the strip club photo. But I think we'll see growth from it.
Yeah.
I'm reluctant to bring this up, but I have to. Michigan State makes the big dance. Michigan accepts a bid to the NIT. Are you happy we accepted it, and will you be paying attention to it? The NIT, that is.
I mean, I'm not mad we accepted
Because North
the
Carolina
offer.
said no, we won't play in the NIT. You know,
Yes, and people are not happy with that. Um,
correct. And if we would have said no, I agree. They wouldn't have been happy with that either.
exactly. That's pretty much the only reason. So what do you? That's the only reason I really would like to be in it. I don't want to lose first round. The game's on in 3 minutes, by the way. Play Toledo. Um, it's kind of even more scary than being in the tournament because if you lose this game, I can only imagine what they say if we lost first round in the
Oh yeah,
actual tournament. But if we lose first round
in
in
the
the
NIT, yeah,
NIT, then what are we gonna hear?
big game.
Lost first round to Rutgers in the Big Ten tournament, and what did we make like one field goal in the second half with like in the first like 18 minutes of the second half? Like
I
we're
left my lunch
not
break at halftime and then checked my phone after about 15 minutes of work, and we were down by like 20. And I was like, well, it's fun.
it was just a team that wanted to play in the overtime in every game it felt like and just screw ourselves.
Yeah.
um I'm not mad that they didn't make the tournament because they just weren't good enough and I couldn't see us going very far. um do you want a banner hung up if we win the NIT?
Um, I think so. Yeah, I'm a big fan. No, I don't like the fraud banners of like. I was never, and I get Final Four in college basketball is a huge deal. But like Elite Eights and Sweet 16 banners, those are the ones I'm not. Maybe if you throw the years up there on them, I don't know. But you win a championship of a tournament, why not hang the banner? I think it's fun. Um, it's a dumb take. I'm sure people are gonna hate that, but why not, right? It's fun. You won a tournament. Uh, if you lose in the NIT, we're gonna get clowned on. If we win the NIT, we're still gonna get clowned on. If we don't accept the bid, we get clowned on. If we accept, everyone's gonna make fun of us no matter what because they finally have a chance to. So I say embrace it, go for the win, hang the banner. I wish State the best of luck in the tournament. Something my State cohorts wouldn't say to me ever, not even on a good day. But I hope they do well. I think Izzo needs a send off at some point, so I'd like to see him make a deep run into the tournament.
Yeah, I mean both teams lost first game in the tournament, and Purdue wins it, one seed in the tournament. Do you want to go through? So me and Bark were kind of talking about this before the pod, and we might go through the whole thing. We might not. I'm kind of putting it on Bark here. I
Definitely
might
not
make it like
today.
definitely not today.
Going through the whole bracket. I don't know.
Starts Thursday.
Yeah, so probably not a Jux bracket.
Okay, how much? What are we at for time?
We are at almost 54 minutes right now.
Hmm.
So I was thinking we touch on some MLB and then we talk our favorites to win.
So we jump over to MLB and then we bounce back to NCAA.
I just think it feels right ending it with the bet as opposed to ending it with MLB talk. But we
Okay,
can
yeah.
stay on NCAA if you want.
Oh, no, that's fine. Let's talk World Baseball
Let's talk World Baseball
Classic.
Classic. You said you need to be convinced as to why this is important.
Yeah, I just never really even heard of it. I don't see like what we're doing. Like I don't know if it's like the Olympics. I don't know if it's like the World Cup. I don't know. I don't see
So the
anything.
big twist happened when the toughest thing in baseball to make it is exposure. The systems are so deep. It's so spread out everywhere, especially down in like Southern America, Southern North America areas. World Baseball Classic. I don't know if you saw the guy from Nicaragua. He's 21 years old, struck out Juan Soto, Rafael Devers, and Julio Rodriguez. An hour after the game, a Tigers scout offered him a contract in the MLB. A lot of these teams, their aces are coming out on the mound, and it says 3.5 ERA, 2022 in A ball. All of our guys are all-stars in the batting lineup. Our pitching's weak, and it's because to warm up that throwing arm and not snap something, that's why pitchers and catchers report early. They need more time to rev up to 100 plus the way they throw. So that's why a lot of them declined. Shohei Ohtani's pitching, Sandy Alcantara's pitching, Christian Javier from the Astros is pitching. These are all aces who didn't use that excuse. Verlander, Scherzer, DeGrom, Corbin Burns. There's a deeper pool of MLB pitchers that are born Americans to pull from. And even our bad starters likely have way more baseball experience than any of these countries' other pitchers, outside of like the three I just named and a couple more. We just watched Vance Worley pitch for Great Britain, and the dude hasn't pitched in the MLB since 2017. He's been playing like AAL ball. But you got to step up for your country. And that twist happened when Marcus Stroman was the USA MVP when we won the World Baseball Classic for the first time, and it was electric. So Mike Trott saw that, and he was like, well, I'm not missing that again. And Mike Trott was like, rounded up all these guys and made a juggernaut of a USA offense. And we finally got to see it last night. We put up 11 really quickly, mercy ruled in 7. If the pitching stays stable, I mean, this is for all the marbles, Train. The stadiums are electric here. The reason it was looked down upon in America for so long was anybody who liked MLB, even the fans were like, I'd rather, let's talk Miggy in his prime, even though he played for Venezuela all the years in the World Baseball Classic. Every chance he had an opportunity to, he went and played for his country. But as a Tigers fan, people be like, I don't know if I like Miggy playing in the World Baseball Classic before the season starts. I don't want him getting injured right before the season starts. For a lot of these other guys, it doesn't matter if they get injured because there is no season for them. Or if there is, it's not as high a stakes as the MLB. A proposition I saw, these pitchers were talking about being warm and loose and everything, is people were saying, what if one in every 4 years, instead of an all-star game, there's just an extended all-star break, and they played the World Baseball Classic in the middle of the season? Do you think that would hook you a little bit more?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know if players would go for it.
The U.S. did not take this seriously until recently, but other countries do. But that would be like England or Germany being like, I don't want our striker playing in the World Cup because he needs to be healthy for Champions League. In this moment, they don't care about Bayern Munich or Chelsea or whatever. They care about their country winning the cup. And although baseball's not on the World Cup level because it doesn't have the reach it has, this is about America telling everyone else we're the best in baseball. Fuck what you think. And if you can't get up for that as a fan or a player, I think that's a problem. You got to do
How
something.
can you think that, or how can you say that when the pitchers don't even want to pitch?
They're being wussies. Aces.
That's what I'm saying.
Other aces are pitching for their countries, so they know how important it is. Shohei Ohtani's, Justin Verlander just got a guaranteed contract. Scherzer pitching on a guaranteed contract. DeGrom, brand new guaranteed contract. Corbin Burns has another year of arbitration still, so I get that one a little bit. A lot of our guys who said no have guaranteed money in their pockets right now. Shohei Ohtani is pitching and hitting for Japan right now, right before his contract year.
Our guys are just pussies.
Yes.
So
Because
if they weren't pussies and we just had all the best guys, I might pay attention.
we got all the best hitters.
I'm not disagreeing with that. Trot hit that. It sounded so good.
We got, Mike Trott, Mookie Betts, Cedric Mullins, Jeff McNeil, Paul Goldschmidt, Arenado, Will Smith, JT Realmuto, Trey Turner. These are household names, and you rarely get to see competitive baseball with an all-star lineup. Like, you watch an all-star game, it's a little bit competitive, but it's not like this. I mean, it's the best of the best USA hitters. I agree. It's not as fun. Even a big baseball fan as me, having to watch Nick Martinez pitch in that game was not fun for me. Doesn't move the needle. I'd rather go out there and just let them know that they can't touch Corbin Burns or Scherzer or Verlander. Go show them. Instead, we're running the risk of running into a Christian Javier, Sandy Alcantara type Shohei Ohtani in the finals or the semifinals, and we might have Brady Singer on the bump. And that's frustrating. I agree with you on that train. That's enough baseball, though. We're running low on time. Let's talk March Madness train. Who do you like? Who's your favorite to win it all? Because I promised this podcast an absolute lock of a winner.
Well, you promised him a lock. Obviously, the favorite to win is Bama. I think a sneaky pick from that region could be San Diego State, a great defense. They're the 5 seed. A lot of people do have Charleston with the 5-12 upset there. I think if I have to, shy away from the favorites in each division or in each bracket, that would be my pick there. I'm not. I could see Baylor losing. I could see it. I could see him being a 3 seed losing first game.
I
We're
think
gonna
I've got them
swing
going
down
out
to,
early.
right, and they just haven't been playing really well, and it seems like every time I bet on them, lately they've been losing. So, who do you like from the South
I don't know.
other than Bama?
I don't know who's in that. I don't know divisions. I just know who's going to win.
Okay, so I'll go through them. I'll just guess I'll go through it. Um, in the East, or no, yeah, in the East, that's Purdue's bracket. Purdue and Marquette with Michigan State. Um, there's Duke in there. They also might lose to Oral Roberts. A lot of people have that happening as well. However, I've been liking Tennessee every time I've been looking at these the brackets. Tennessee has a fairly okay run that I could see them getting pretty far in. They're going against the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. You okay?
Shoe was clawing my hand.
Nice. All right, so there's one. There's two. There's a 5 seed and a 4 seed. So we're not really going too chalk here. In the Midwest, that's Houston's, Indiana, Texas. This is a bracket I really think can go a lot of different ways. With Houston, Texas could lose round 1 against Colgate. Kennesaw State first appearance in the big dance. Penn State and Texas A&M is going to be a really fun game. I think you should watch, just because I think these two teams are really hot right now, and Penn State almost won the Big Ten championship. Texas A&M real hot as well. Indiana versus Kent State. This is one where I can't really give out a possible a team I see, because I can see anybody from this bracket taking it. I would say Indiana, but they could lose first round against Kent State. I do have the future Final Four. I know you like a team from this bracket being Texas, correct?
Yes, I have them in the Final Four.
Okay. Any reason? I know you bet on them not too long ago in our wheel.
Yeah, so I bet on them
lost.
and they let me down, and I was hesitant making this bracket. But their offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency The numbers are just there. In one game, leave it all out there. I've got to go with the numbers. I have every Big Ten team losing in the first round, barring Michigan State. I've got them going to the Sweet 16. Other than that, Michigan State is the only Big Ten team I have advancing.
Do or
I think I have Purdue losing in round 2.
okay,
So
okay. I
yes,
was like, they're the one seed.
now I've
Okay.
got Purdue's. I've got them losing in round 2 to the 8 or 9 seed over there. My final 4, I've got Alabama, Duke, Texas, Kansas. Alabama's going to win the tournament. I think they'll beat Kansas in the finals. Texas could make a run. The numbers are there. Kansas has the experience, the coaching. I really like them too. I have the future placed on them. But Alabama is my tournament lock. At this point, everything's shaken out. I've seen everything I need to see. They've got the talent. They're new-ish to the tournament. I think they can make a splash. I don't think they can make a splash. I know they can make a splash. I got Bama winning it all. Lock it in. Bama is the champion. I told you I was giving you a winner. That's the winner. If you want to get frisky, UConn might be a sneaky dub.
So they're in the last. They're in the last bracket here in the West with the Kansas, with St. Mary's, TCU, and UCLA. If I had to pick one from that, it might be. It could be the Zags. Every year they're like, okay, the Zags are going to make it, and they always choke. So as much as I want to get them to the Elite Eight, to the Final Four from this bracket, I don't think it's going to happen. This one might be chalk. It might be the Rock Chalk. It might be Kansas coming from this bracket. But I want to break it down. Maybe I'll do a tic tac or like a Twitter post or something, and just I don't know. I want to make my own because I will make my own after these playing games. But I also kind of want to do a Jux one, but I don't know what kind of rendition I'll have to this Jux. Maybe I'll ask you or like, what do you think? Or we don't. You have one bracket. I like to fill out more than one bracket just because I think it's fun filling out brackets. But I usually only have one actual bracket I stick to and throw in like groups and everything like that.
We can put it in the Jux group chat one by one and have me, you, and Nar pick, and then post the bracket on Twitter.
Okay.
That way, there's
So we'll
3
probably,
of us. So
should we leave out like 1 and 2 seeds, or do you think we should probably, like?
we'll discuss with Nar.
Oh, all right, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, so yeah, we'll do that. You want to do bets? You want to do futures? Or was that your future, Alabama, as your money in the bank?
It's not a Money in the Bank. Because
I think a few episodes ago you said you would have a money in the bank future NCAA tournament winner. But you don't have
Alabama,
to.
Alabama national champion, Money in the Bank, lock it in. That's my bet. We don't have a wager wheel today because we were pressed for time to start, so I apologize. It deleted all my columns off of it, so I didn't have time to retype it. So we're doing tournament futures. Mine's Alabama, and I'm also making that a Money in the Bank. Train, what do you got?
A tournament future, if I had to pick one, um, you know, I'll give you 2. It's Arizona from the same bracket as Alabama, and then it's Kansas. Well, two really great teams, and I could see them going pretty far. It's not going to be on the Money in the Bank because I really wish I got to go through it a little bit more before. We were really just didn't know what we were doing, so I didn't know we were doing futures. I could have just made it right now and told you who I would like, but Arizona from the left side of the bracket, Kansas from the right, and if I had to pick a winner, chalk Kansas back to back.
If we're doing 2 picks, sprinkle UConn as a backup. That's all I got for you guys today. Episode 24, Jux, All Things Sports podcast presented by Always Bullin. Thanks for listening. Keep an eye on the Twitter for updates on a Jux bracket. Until next week, and as always, let's fist it.